Hey everyone, are you ready to be fired up? I am so excited. Today we're going to be talking about life optimization with Paul. Paul, say your last name.
Tokgozoglu.
Tokgozoglu. He has a podcast called Beyond Homo Sapien, and I am so excited to have him. If you're excited and want to know about how to optimize your life, how to maximize efficiency, how to get more done, how to be more organized and consistent, you are listening to the right podcast. Okay, let's go. How you doing, Paul? Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you, Krista. It's an honor to be here.
So tell us a little bit. I mean, we're just going to get really quickly into the podcast that you have, and then we're going to get into more of the evolution of life. But tell me a little bit about your podcast, Beyond Homo Sapien.
So my show's all about human evolution and kind of where the species is going. I feel like we're at a very critical juncture here. And the podcast kind of rests on this understanding that I believe the human species has already evolved. I mean, let's just take a look at what's happening here. What state are you in right now?
We are in Northern California. I'm about an hour from San Francisco.
So you're in California. I'm in middle of nowhere, Missouri, where it's cold. And we're able to have this conversation and this interaction as if you're in my room through the power of the internet. And this is just one example of the countless ways that we are interwoven together, interconnected with each other. And personally, I think that, I don't know if we can still call ourselves the same type of people that existed back in the caves in the Stone Age. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the premise of the podcast, is that we are moving into this new enlightened era, this new age of mankind. And it hasn't even started yet. Everything we've seen is just a preview of what's to come. So more tactically, the show deals with how do you take advantage? You know, if you're someone who sees that that's where the world is going, how can you take advantage? How can you thrive? How can you get ahead in your life? How does this make sense? How do you take all this crazy stuff you see online or in books or everywhere these days and make it into, what am I going to do today? What should I do now?
It's so true. We have access, just let's talk about that. I mean, we have access to so much stuff. It can get really overwhelming at times. And so much so to where a lot of my students will say, Krista, I just feel paralyzed. I don't know what to do. So I do nothing because I'm just so overwhelmed. So, I mean, like you said, we're sitting here talking to each other via Zoom call, via video. You're in Missouri, I'm in California, and it's like we're right next to each other. It's almost like George Jetson days. When I was a kid, I never thought that would ever be possible.
It's crazy. And what's crazier is just if we just think for a second, we could live stream this if we wanted to. You're recording it. It's going to go up on audio. It could go up on YouTube. It could go on social media. It can reach countless people all over the globe. And there's an infinite number of these sorts of conversations happening right now all over the world. And it's creating what I think is, Carl Jung talked about the collective unconscious. I think that that's what the internet is. It's our collective unconscious manifested out into the whole world for everyone to see. In a way, it's like we're always engaged in a form of telepathy with each other. We don't think of it that way, but we forget that because we don't think we talk to each other with our minds, but we do, because our minds created the radio waves, the Wi-Fi waves, the 4G LTE, everything. And then we communicate telepathically with each other through our phone. We don't think of it like that. We think of our phone as a third party, but it's not. It's an extension of our minds. It's our minds made manifest into this phone thing that we carry around.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy.
How fast things are evolutionizing. I mean, it's scary sometimes to think just what's happening. And I would think, what's it going to be like in 10 years or in 20 years? I mean, so much has happened in the past year. I mean, think about the phone, right? When we first had the phones were the size of a shoebox. You probably weren't around like alive then. Because
I remember. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, for sure.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 28.
28. Okay, so I'm 48, so I'm quite a bit older than you. And then they were the size of a book, and then they were the size of like a little mini, like race car, little what do they call Hot Wheels, and then they got bigger again, and now it's just amazing. And now we can talk to each other from our phones and see each other, through video. It's just so. How do you think this type of technology and this quickness is helping us as humans based upon your research, or is it hurting us, or a little bit of both?
It's exposing us, I think, is the best way to put it. It's exposing us. It's exposing people. And I think that it is both helping and not helping. in a sense, is shedding, giving people like you more exposure. I see behind you some wonderful the ClickFunnels Awards. That's congratulations. But that implies that you have successfully taken advantage and used the internet for your exposure, right? So whether or not you're you know what you're doing or not is kind of that's one thing. That's how you make money. That's how you get ahead. But like, as you know, there's plenty of people these days who have lots of exposure, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So that's kind of the trick of the internet, is that there's so many voices out there. How do you know who to listen to? How do you know who's real? So it can help you tremendously. I think it can be an enormous bit of help for us. I think it can save the world and change everything. I think it already has in a lot of ways. But yeah, it can definitely hurt for sure, especially if you're just spending your day on Snapchat all day for 8 hours. Then yeah, of course. It's like everything.
I think a lot of people get a little bit of anxiety. I just ended up having this summit this past weekend, last week actually. People flew in from all across the United States, and we had 5 days of trainings, 2 different ones, 2 different levels. And I had some of my students say, well, I feel anxious now. I'm nervous. I'm a little bit almost depressed since I've gotten home. And I'm all, that's because you learned so much and your brain is going, it's on overload. So then it gets nervous because it's not doing what it thinks it should. And then we have, the aftermath of it. So I think that sometimes technology and innovation and just the quickness of life can make people feel that more often than not. We actually have more anxiety now than we've had in years, including our youth. Our youth has so much anxiety because of that. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I'm totally with you. It's a big thing and here's the thing, like I'm saying, this is just the beginning. Wait till virtual reality is a thing. Wait till augmented reality comes out a little bit more. Wait until Elon Musk launches his Neuralink and then you can put your phone in your head. Things like this. So this is just the preview of where this is going. And we're going to have to cultivate the discipline to turn the off switch. Mm-hmm. And part of it, I think, is the fact that because of the internet, a lot of the times, because of technology, we are learning and more rapidly knowing the damages of technology. So like what you just said, with increased anxiety, you probably learned that online. You know what I mean? You probably learned that somehow online one way or another. So then you read that, you say, wow, I should get offline and go for a walk. And then you do. So it can be holistic like that. It can be like, oh, wow, on Facebook, I just got this New York Times survey about the damages of technology. Oh, wow. And then if you have the discipline and you're smart and you've listened to my podcast and know about this sort of stuff, you say, okay, I'm going to take a break. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part of it too, is that technology and the internet, I think, will allow us to understand the damages of technology even greater. And then I hope, this is the key, then we say, okay, turn the phone on airplane mode, I'm going for a walk. And it's got to be the balance. You can't just be always on technology. No way.
You're absolutely so much more productive when you do that. And so let's talk a little bit about life, like optimizing life. And I know that you, and one of the things that I told you that I hear from my listeners and from my students more than anything is that they feel like they don't have enough time in the day and they lack consistency and implementation. And so we had discussed getting you on the podcast and really focusing on consistency, implementation, and really optimizing life. How we can be more consistent, how we can implement more and be more organized. So give us some tips on that, Paul. I know you study a lot about this kind of stuff.
So I think the key is really like having a good morning routine. And then a lot of times people also forget the evening routine, the wind down routine as well, that really just kind of keeps you in momentum for the whole day, including your sleep. Your sleep is such a hugely important part of your life. Sleep is key. So you need to also have, I think, a wind down routine of some sort where you get prepped for that 7 or 8 or however many hours of sleep you're going to have that night. And then that will then allow you to then jump right into your morning routine and go from there. So that's, I guess, the biggest part. Number one, I would say, is that type of a routine. It can be big or it can be small. Like I know some people who have hours long routines that they do. For me, it's something simple. Like what I found works great is I wake up, I drink a lot of water. That's really important. You chug some water. Don't sip water. You got to chug it, because when you sip water, you tell your body that we don't have water. When you chug your water, you tell your body we have plenty of water. No need to be stressed, and your body calms down physiologically. That's why humans are the only animals that sip water. You see any animal drink water, they lap it up like it's the last time they were ever going to see water, right? Like if you see a dog drink water, the dog doesn't just lap it twice and then leave. Like, no.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and humans are the only ones that don't. And the reason why is because we're always so rushed. And we're like, oh, I just got to sip my water and get out the door. Like, no, when you sip water, you're sending your body a signal that says, we don't have enough water. I got to conserve water. And your body becomes more anxious and you feel more overwhelmed because your body thinks we need to conserve resources, and you go into that fight or flight mode. So that's the first thing I do is chug a bunch of water, tell my body, hey, we got water, plenty of water around. And then I do the opposite of that. I drink a bunch of coffee. I love coffee, but I always make sure you match your coffee with your water intake because obviously coffee dehydrates you. I make a bulletproof coffee blend, which is like, the MCT oil, grass-fed butter, coffee. I put cayenne pepper and cacao in there and a couple other things. So make my coffee. And then usually what I'll do is I actually got one right here. I have a little daily planner, I think. Oh, I thought that was it. Never mind. I have a little daily planner that I go through. I thought that this was it here, but it wasn't. But it has like a list of all the things that I get that I'm going to do that day. But it also has it's almost like a journaling page that I just made for myself where I ask myself some questions like, what am I grateful for today? What's my intent for today? What do I want from today? So I have a few little journaling questions on there. And then I have my to-do list. I write out my to-do list of things I'm going to do that day. And then I say, okay, what are the 3 things out of that to-do list that I must get done today? So my to-do list might be 10 things. And then I say, all right, what are the 3 that like I will not go to sleep until these 3 things are done? And then you pick those. And and then I write out, I do a little bit more journaling. I like to write affirmations and stuff like that in the morning. So I do some affirmations. I'm a big fan of spiritual practices and esoteric philosophy and things like this. So sometimes I do some tarot cards or something like that. I like tarot cards a lot. Things like that. I do a little tarot, or I read a book. I read like a complicated book to get my mind going. Some sort of old religious book or something that I'm studying, whatever I'm into that day. Sometimes I might even watch a little bit of like a Netflix documentary or something like that. I've found for me personally, I function better in a ramp up mode. And that's kind of what my routine helps me do is like, I never worked with this whole like 9 to 5 thing. For me, it's more like ramp up a little bit throughout your day till around 11. And then work till, 8 or 9 p.m. at night. That's kind of how I work better is like.
And actually finding how you work better is really important too. So having a morning routine, it's funny because your morning routine is very similar to mine. And we absolutely practice every single day. And we teach our students and everyone, we've actually had a podcast on it, to visualize your day, seeing yourself succeeding, write out 6 things that you're grateful for. We read our manifesto, so it gets in our mind, which is basically our affirmations. And then we plan out 6 things that we're going to get done that day. And then at nighttime, we then schedule our day for the next day. And then in the evening, what we do is we actually map out our calendar, our day for the next day. We celebrate our wins because success breeds success. And then we give ourselves permission to dream what we need to do. So tell me a little bit about what your nighttime entails.
Nighttime's a lot shorter for me. And one thing I forgot to mention, very important in the morning, is meditation as well.
Yeah.
Meditation and if I can, a little yoga too. Little yoga or moving my body somehow. So just to finish out the morning. But then the evening, maybe a little more yoga, perhaps. A little more yoga, more water for sure. Definitely more water. Obviously brush teeth, things of that variety. And then, I watch a lot of documentaries. So I usually have documentaries going or something like that. Netflix has some great documentaries these days, just for the record. So I've been watching a lot.
Specifically on there?
Yeah, I've been watching some stuff there. What do you say?
Which one do you like specifically?
Best one I've seen lately is the Roman Empire. Have you seen that one? It's on Netflix.
Is it good?
Oh, it's amazing. It's one of those documentaries where like they have actors playing out the roles. Yeah, and then they've got like actors doing the actual stuff, and then it cuts over to the historian. And usually, whenever I see documentaries like that, the actors aren't very good. It's not like an actual show. but this one's really good. It's about it's called Roman Empire. It's 3 seasons. It covers 3 of the most famous, most important Roman emperors. So I was watching that, but I like that kind of stuff, like historical stuff, World War II, Roman Empire, ancient history, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so in order to have the most optimal life, obviously having a morning routine and an evening routine is very, very important. How do you, when people come to you and they say that they're, because you really do study evolution and the evolution of where we've been and where we're going, how do you get, or what have you experienced to help people be more consistent and to be able to implement?
More consistent. To be honest, I think when I'm talking about evolution, a lot of times I'm speaking not necessarily about biological, but an evolution of consciousness, which I think is even more important. Like, I think that's a misconception, where our minds are evolving. Our bodies might be staying relatively the same, but our minds are expanding and evolving is what I think. And what the most important part of all of that is overcoming your limiting beliefs, overcoming the things that are holding you back deep inside, because that's what I found with myself. So like, let's use working out, for example. I love working out. I'm getting certified as a strength coach right now, actually. I love work. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like 10 years. I'm a yoga instructor. I love working out and moving my body. But for the longest time, I just could not commit to a workout routine. Just could not commit to it. Did not have a workout routine in place. And eventually I was like, why? Why can I not commit to working out? I love working out. I know a lot about it. It's not that I wasn't. I was just going, I didn't have a routine. I didn't have like an actual plan. I would just go to the gym and do whatever and then leave. You know what I mean? I was like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'll get better results if I've got a program. Why am I not creating a program for myself? And then I realized it had nothing to do with commitment. It had nothing to do with my, anything, my knowledge or anything. All that it had to do was my limiting beliefs about myself. So I dug deeper and I found out maybe I don't think I deserve the body that I want. Maybe it's an issue with thinking about, what does Paul deserve in life? Do I deserve to have the body of my dreams? Was the question that I came to. And right away I said, yeah, I do. But that was what was missing. I hadn't had that conversation with myself. There was still a little voice inside of me anytime that I went to the gym or whatever. And that little voice was like, you don't deserve this. What, you think you're some Instagram star working out? You know what I mean? Like, there's that little hater voice in the back of your head. That's like, you're not going to make it as an entrepreneur. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like the little voice. And then you go down that voice and you say, okay, why is this voice here? Whose voice is this? It's not mine. Is this my mom's voice? Is this my dad's voice? Is this my husband's voice or wife's voice? I'm hearing in the back of my head. Yeah. That is the thing that holds people back. You can take all the goal setting courses you want. You can hire all the coaches you want, listen to all podcasts you want. But if you don't love yourself, if you don't think you deserve it, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, do you think Jeff Bezos walks around his mansion and he's like, man, do I really deserve all this? You know what I mean? Like, do you think Elon Musk is walking around Tesla factory being like, I don't deserve this? You know what I mean? Like, no. They know they do, and they go after it. Exactly.
It's true. I tell people all the time, we can give you the blueprint for success, the blueprint how to be the best real estate agent lender and how to market yourself like crazy. But if you don't actually get your head straight and what's in between your ears, it doesn't matter what blueprint we have. You'll never be able to do it. So mindset is one of the biggest portions, and really, really getting into control of your thoughts and what you're thinking, because what you think actually determines your actions, and your actions determines your life. So if you can't get your thoughts right, nothing ever happens. So I'm absolutely a firm believer in that. Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about your podcast. So Beyond Homo Sapien, how long have you been doing it?
About 1.5 years.
And how's it going?
It's going pretty well. These things take time. I've been in the Army full time. I'm getting out of the Army actually this week.
Great. Good for you. Thank you for serving our country. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the support. Yeah, I've been an active duty officer in the military police regiment the last 6 years. So that's been my full-time gig. And then I started doing a digital marketing agency kind of part-time about 3 years ago. I love marketing. And then I started the podcast about a year and a half ago. So I've been doing it. I've been doing all three of those. So now the Army's about to go away and I can focus just on those other two. So now's the time. But it's going well. It takes a long time to build an audience, is what I found.
It is. It definitely
takes a long time.
Long time, very consistent. Obviously, you know about ClickFunnels. So do you use ClickFunnels?
Oh yeah. I build funnels on ClickFunnels and Thrive Themes for WordPress.
Got you. Great. I know. I've got my fourth one coming. It's in the mail right now.
Well, congratulations. That's as legit as it gets, for sure.
Really excited about it. I actually was in Russell's inner circle. So,
oh, really? Okay. So you might know. Do you know Alex Sharfin?
Yes, I know Alex Sharfin very well.
He's one of my mentors.
That's why you said chug the water.
Oh yeah, he's the man. He's where I got that all from. Shout out Alex.
Inside, I took he coached me for a little bit, and then I ended up, kind of venturing off. But yeah, he owned a company called CDPE, Certified Distressed Property Expert. Grew that to be a multi-million-dollar company, and he actually helps businesses become million-dollar businesses. So yes,
he's the man.
You coach underneath him?
I did his Momentum Masterclass. I worked for him for a little while too. He was a client of mine.
Oh, great.
I did all the social media stuff.
Oh, great.
Small world.
Yep, everyone knows everyone. Yep, I know Alex very, very well.
He's the man. Shout out Alex.
Yeah, he is. He's great. So, okay, so great. So we're coming up to an end here. I try to keep them to about 30 minutes long. And I just have I always ask everyone this question without them even knowing. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to everybody that you feel would significantly help their life, what would that be?
I would say be very careful about who you take advice from. I think there's lots of people these days taking advice from people they shouldn't be taking advice from. And what I always try to tell people and think for myself is don't take advice from someone unless they have a life that you want, unless you would trade lives with them. If you would trade lives with them for whatever reason, then take their advice. But like my advice will only ever get you to where I am in life. You know what I mean? For the most part. I mean, and same with you. Like someone shouldn't be listening to you and hiring you as a coach unless they want to achieve specifically what you've achieved, and also be the type of person that you are. That's a big part of it too. There's lots of people out there who have made millions and millions of dollars, but they're assholes and their lives are terrible, and they're divorcing their wife, and you would never want to trade your life with theirs, but you're buying their course. Or you're watching their YouTube videos and this, that, the other thing. And I'm just thinking, no, it's a holistic thing. So
that is such good advice. And I want to just touch on that for a minute here because, I'm reading the book from Grant Cardone, Obsessed or Be Average, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And he says, don't ever hire a coach or a mentor unless they've achieved what you've already achieved. There's so many people that are taking coaching from people that have never even achieved what they're coaching them to achieve. They've actually became a coach or a mentor because they themselves couldn't succeed. So be sure if you're ever going after anybody for advice or for coaching or training in anything that they've actually been able to achieve what you have. For example, I can create $1 million funnels and I can teach people how to do that, but I have yet to. I'm not a billionaire, right? I'm just a millionaire. So I would never try to teach people how to be billionaires since I have not done that yet. And he actually uses that specific example in his book. So true.
I love it. And the one exception I would say to that is like professional advice, like a lawyer. Like if you're going to hire a lawyer, you can probably just hire the lawyer, assuming they're good. And, there are some cases where okay, you maybe don't need to know what your lawyer's love life is like. You know what I mean? Ideally you would have a long relationship with them and know him really well, but you get what I'm saying. I think there's, I'm not going to go to the emergency room and before the doctor comes up to me and gives me some advice, I'm not going to be like, hey, are you married? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'll probably just listen to the doctor and trust that he probably knows what he's talking about for the most part, of course. But you get what I'm saying. But when it comes to a mentor or a coach or an influencer you follow or someone's book you're reading, stuff that you're like, okay, I'm going to apply this to my life. This is my new program for life revitalization. It's and also the other thing too is the best coaches, the best people with advice, they just help me to listen to myself better and have more confidence in me. Like all the coaches I've ever met who are like, listen, Paul, I know exactly what you got to do for your business to explode it in 90 days. And it's contradicting what I have in my head. a lot of times that's not the coach for me. But it's the coaches that validate what's going on in my head. Like Russell says, validate their suspicion, confirm their suspicions, and then you just help me. The best coaches help me lean into my voice better and have more confidence to follow what my intuition is saying. You know what I mean? Because I don't ever think I know better than someone else what they should do with their life, because I don't know all about them. I can just help them to follow their intuition and have better skills and tools and abilities. And if they ask me for advice, you can give it. Of course, you give your advice, but always with that understanding of like, I think everyone already knows what they're supposed to do. They just don't do it because they're scared, they're afraid, or they need someone like you to hold the space for them to say, no, I did it too. I achieved the real estate agent dream. You can do it too. Here's what worked for me. You know what I mean?
And then keep pushing through all the time, because obstacles are going to come up and it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult. Yes.
Yeah. And then a coach is great, because then a coach can be like, hey, that's an obstacle. Jump right over it. You'll be fine. And then you're like, okay, hop, I'm good. You know what I mean? But if you didn't have that coach, you might chill at that obstacle for a year because you don't know what's on the other side. But the coach does.
Yeah. I love it, Paul. Very, very nice. And I love that you're drinking your water. You're practicing what you're preaching, which is amazing. My water bottle is empty right now. I'm just like, I notice as long as I have it with me, I drink it. But then once it goes away, I need to remember to fill it back up. So, well, I appreciate your time. What a great podcast this has been. I so appreciate you, Paul. Thank you so much for everything. And remember, everyone, this is a great, uplifting podcast. I hope it helped. I really want to thank you so much for giving me a little piece of your time and your day. And as always, remember, learning is great, but you need to implement. Make it a great day.
Hey there, I have a brand new podcast called Fired Up with Krista Mashore, where I bring my high energy right to your ears. This podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So do me a favor, go subscribe and leave a review. All this information is free, and I cannot wait to teach you everything I know. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.